All right, hello. Here it is, the FireCraft Q450, pellet Q450. And my controller buttons are starting to not work. The temperature control buttons may or may not be working. The display does not change, and then the actual set temperature button does not work either. So I have pulled off the front panel. There were just 2 screws here on this front panel. Pulled that off, and I figured, well, why not take some video and some pictures? So when I get a new controller, I know how to hook the wires back up and see if we can get this thing going before Thanksgiving to cook a couple of turkeys again this year. So after reading pellet fans or something online, indicated that these guys were hex, and sure enough they are. I thought that they were rivets and I was gonna have to drill them out, but these guys are hex. So I'm gonna now pop those out, hold this guy as necessary. One guy said it just spun and spun and spun. Well, obviously it's a nylock type of a nut there, so you gotta hold it on the back side. And getting across to the other side may be fun, which might require popping these inside bolts and taking off this entire thing. So we'll see how it goes. We're determined to replace the controller. So it turns out the hex screw was really hex bolt, really easy to take out. It's got this little nut on it. Turns out it's a 3/8. So I'm just gonna squeeze my hand in to the other side, hold that, undo it from the front and take it off. Straightforward, easy enough. And then when I get the controller out, clip that zip tie and take some good pictures so I know what goes where when I buy the replacement controller. Then we're gonna go find these part numbers online, and I think it might be either from Rectech or Roanoke from Royal Grills. But hopefully that's easy enough to find online to replace the thing. Okay, controller is out loose and hanging gently on its wires. I'm gonna take some video here, a lot of video, so I know what goes where. There are clearly some differences. Part number, we're gonna pull the thing off in a minute. I'm gonna guess, well, it's probably labeled. Ah, there we go. RTDA, grill RTDA. That's got to be grill temp, grill RTD. RTDB, yep, RTDB is the meat temp. All right, hot, that must be the ground for the hot rod. So, okay, there's power coming in. Trace, all right, I'm gonna go mentally trace all these wires. Okay, we've traced everything. Let's just go over it on video here. So again, these 2 white ones, those 2 white ones are RTDA, and so they are the grill temp, and they go to that guy there. Next over, RTDB, that's just meat temp, front panel of the controller. Next one over, that says hot, it's black, so that loops around here and goes over to power in, AC in. That back black wire loops around and goes here. Next over, you've got one of 2 fan wires. Fan wire that goes to the circuit board, traces up to here and goes into the fan. All right, that is this wire here. And then the next one over, the red guy, that's pretty obvious. The red one goes up to the auger. And if you look in here on the circuit board, there's an AUG for the red wire. Red wire. Red wire is the auger. On around this white wire, it says IGN, ignition. And if you trace it around, it'll go to the hot rod that goes into the bottom of the grill. It goes down inside there. All right, so trace that, loops over here, goes through there. It's this wire and then this wire down to the circuit board for ignition. Oh, and there's one more around there I missed. You go. That back one clips into the other side of the fan. I wonder if it says fan. Hard to see down there. BC2. BC2. Maybe that's the control on off for the fan, for the modulation of the fan to control the airflow. Nevertheless, it plugs into this wiring harness and goes to this red spade for the fan. Now the other fan, it's also a red spade. Well, I hope we have enough video and pictures of this thing now where everything goes. All right. All right. Controller's unplugged, but we got it documented as to where all the wires go. And we're gonna come over here, look at the back of the controller, and there you go, rec, FG0630, blah, blah, blah. So we got a serial number and some numbers here we can try to find online. Hopefully it's the Roanoke, the one from Royal, whoever makes the thing. Hey, there's a fuse there too, all right. Okay, we're back. So for anybody else out there that has one of these old FireCraft Q450s with a controller that's gone out, I'll finish posting this video on YouTube. Apologies that I'm not taking action shots, but the Roanoke controller that I ordered from Royal came in yesterday, a day early. I was excited. It was late at night. I just put the thing in, so we'll just kind of recap it. The installation was easy, extremely simple. So the back of the circuit board is labeled very well, and the wires, if you're into pellet grills at all, know anything about it, the wires are very simple from the standpoint of knowing where they come from. You've got white common, black hot over there on the ACN. You've got a red line coming off of the auger. You've got an extra line coming off of the fan. And the only thing that I'd recommend being really careful on is knowing where there are 4 wires here, 2 from the RTD, 2 from the hot rod, and they're all the same wires. They're hard to tell what's what. So just be careful in knowing which 2 wires over on this side are the RTD that go on the back of the circuit board, back left from this orientation, versus the single hot rod or ignition as it's labeled wire on the circuit board. So your circuit board connections are common, ignition, auger, AUG, fan, hot, AC hot, and then the 2 RTDs there. Just make sure I didn't move my camera in the wrong place. Again, common, ignition, IGN, auger, fan, hot, and then the RTD that goes into the grill. So it was very simple to take out the old one, put in the new one. Again, on the old one, just make sure you use a hex key and then hold nylock nuts on the inside when you take it off. Turns out, so the hex bolts are number 8s. This new circuit board, and I'm not surprised so I'm in semiconductors and electronics. What they've gone to is an embedded, I would call it like a nutsert. It's a number 6, and it's the same as what's in personal computers, PCs. If you've ever built a PC, that's what I ended up using here, is like a PC bolt, right? That number 6, and so it's actually threaded, so you don't need an extra nut on this side. Now, the one thing that I am going to do is I was lazy and just grabbed these from my PC collection last night. I'm going to go over to Home Depot and get something that I know that's stainless steel and not zinc plated, because these will probably rust, but I wanted to get the thing in and tested last night. The controller operates, all right, I'm actually going to time out and come back in with another clip so this clip doesn't get too long. Okay, we're back. The controller is programmed differently than the Q450 original controller. A couple of things. It will go as low as 160 degrees as a set point, whereas the Q450 would only go as low as 180. I like that. Per the documentation, Roanoke indicates that this thing ought to go as high as 650. I don't plan on ever taking it to 650. I don't use the thing for pizzas. I suppose you could push it. You know, maybe somebody that wants to do pizzas in the thing, I'll go do that. I've got other ways to cook pizzas, like a pizza insert for my Green Mountain grill. So the high end and the low end are different. The other thing that I noticed is, so last night I started everything up to do an initial test, and I only went to 200 degrees. And overall, it looks like the controller, relative to what it's sensing on the main RTD controller, based on what it's sensing on the main RTD there in the back, has pretty tight temperature control. Now, I don't know how technically accurate it is. I have my iGrill in here just to kind of get a coarse idea of how well it's controlling temperature. There's a big difference between what that RTD senses and what's over here. Of course, that's obviously a lot closer to this heat deflector drip tray. One thing I noticed is when I turned it off last night at 200 degrees, the fan went off immediately. So I was a little bit concerned about that. But then, like I said, I only went to 200 degrees. Today, I cleaned out vacuumed out the grill and restarted it and went all the way to 400. One thing that I noticed is I was seeing 50 to 70 degree temp difference between that RTD and here. So I may, I don't know, take some emery cloth and clean that off. I may see if I can get an actual RTD replacement from Roanoke. Might see about relocating the thing. Right now, I just want to know what it is and what the delta is. And so obviously this RTD being up and away from the fire, so to speak, and then this being very close to the heat deflector, makes sense that this one would get a lot hotter. Plus, I don't know how accurate this old probe is on the iGrill. I just am really excited that it was more than the cheap one I saw on Amazon, G2 brand or whatever. But everything fit, no re-drilling. Obviously, number 6s are a little smaller than number 8s, not a big deal. But it fit perfectly, other than obviously cosmetically. The Q450 label fit inside this cutout, whereas they've gone to a larger label. But just for cosmetics, I didn't really feel like getting an angle grinder and trimming this out just to see the full royal. I mean, I don't know, maybe someday I'll do that. All right, time out. So again, I'm just super glad that the thing is in and it works. So for 145 plus shipping, my Q450 is back in operation. This time when I shut it down from 400 degrees, the fan kept going and didn't turn off until this was well under 300 here. So I presume under probably 300 here, so that's fine. As long as I know that that feature works and that it goes through a shutdown, that's pretty cool. Anything else to report? Well, set back up to probably do a turkey out here as well as a turkey inside to compare the difference. Just a very easy replacement. The Q450 is working again. I'm thrilled. The other option was, you know, if I wanted to maintain my 2 pellet grills for cookouts, then I would have had to have obviously spent a lot more money on a whole new pellet grill, and my Q450 is working again. So, all right, signing off for now. Yeah, but no weird mounting, just went right in, plugged in, screwed in, just went to some PC bolts, really easy replacement. I would, right now, recommend it. Cheers. Okay, good morning. Quick update on the performance of the new controller. So I have it set up doing a pork shoulder overnight, 10-pound pork shoulder. Yeah, I started at 7 last night. It's 8 the next morning, so it's been about 13 hours. I think it's going through the stall. I'm probably going to wrap it with butcher paper. I have it set up to measure temp on the far side of the pulled pork. I'll show you real quick over here, and it's only, that's looking good. It's probably time to get that thing wrapped up in a little bit. All right, so yeah, and it's only, well, before I opened it, it was only about 5 to 6 degrees off on the far side over there. So I think this thing is rock solid with regards to temp control, better than the original controller. Anyway, that's how I have it set up. So now what I need to do is I need to find my old temp probe that plugs in here and start using that. And anyway, yeah, one of the disadvantages, as you can see with the FireCraft, is since it's so wide open on the top, anytime you open it up, the temperature drops significantly, but it recovers. Not that big of a deal. All right, really happy with the Roanoke controller from Royal, and I'll add this to what I post. Cool. Cheers. Happy Thanksgiving.